You're fine.
Namaste. Good day to our 13th edition of PodAlchemy. Welcome. It's been a very intense week. We post our podcast a bit later than the actual recording, and now the timeline is that we had the eclipse beginning of the week, and it's Salome, she had a very deep process mostly last week, leading up, the inner child process leading up to the eclipse. And I have a very deep process in the inner child initiated by the eclipse. So we had a bit of a contemplation on that. Is it because where our, natal signs are, or is it because of our location, or what we've been going through? But the fact is that we have both been, on a span of 2 weeks, we have both been going through very deep processes in the inner child, and the Mercury retrograde is adding to the whole thing. So we didn't feel really like talking publicly today. And it is not easy to go public, not even about what you say, but just to be seen publicly when you go through a very deep internal process, because it's the privacy thing. B, it's also the lack of words. Like there's sometimes this, we just do not find the words to express what you feel, even if you talk about the weather or something. But as we want to talk about inner childhood, yes, and also about authenticity, it feels aligned to show ourselves authentically and raw, and not so ready to broadcast, and not so Hollywood, Bollywood, aligned in our appearances and our mindset and our moods. And that's how we start our day.
Yes, indeed.
Salome.
You give me the floor. Yeah, there are just days where the easy decision would be just postpone it. And here, me and Nadia, when we committed to PodAlchemy, we really committed to a soul journey together, to walk alongside one another, to kind of like motivate one another when the other is not really feeling it. But along with that promise, we promised our souls to really show up for ourselves and for whatever act of service we are able to do. And we are trying here not to really comply with any mind image of perfection, of pitch perfect. Like these episodes that we record are completely unscripted. We really feel into our weeks, and we feel what is coming up for us in our own lives, and we let it flow. And that has been the journey, that has been the beauty of it, but also the difficulty of it. Because we do live in a mind world, and we do live in a place, in a world where it's very easy to point fingers and to judge, and it's very hard really to strike the right balance between showing up authentically and with vulnerability, but also not with that type of vulnerability that you're really wanting attention, or you really it's not a felt vulnerability, it's a mind vulnerability. It's we were actually talking about that before, like where you just pick and choose, you cherry pick the right words and you put them to trigger that emotion on the other end. And Nadia here, she's teaching me um, the difference between what is a felt authenticity and what it is taught authenticity. Right? It's not really the same. They come from different places. And yeah, one is authentic but trying to be perfect, and the other is a feeling of authenticity. Right.
Yes, and the more you open up to growth, and the more you open up to wanting to become the best version of yourself, you expose yourself to process, right? And when you like when you have your flat looks pretty okay, decent, clean, but you've got all the rubbish in the cupboards, under the bed and everything. When you start your sprinkling, it looks worse before it gets better. And that's a bit like with soul work, you know, you've got all those things hidden away in a certain compartmentalized in your psyche, and you functioning with that safely tucked away. But then when you start to dig up what those hidden emotions, and when you actually, you know, expose yourself to honesty, when you commit to honesty also with the people surrounding you, it causes a process, you know, because you will not always hear what you want to hear, because honesty means honesty. It doesn't mean you mince or adjust your words so the other one is pleased what he or she hears. So that causes process, and that causes sometimes to tap into a deep wound, and then that comes up. And doing inner child work, it's always very raw, because you go into this feeling of powerlessness. You're not in a it touches upon the first 7 years of your life. It touches onto the Muladhara, like your base chakra, and I have just got the Lambatico this week. Which is very, very aligned with what I'm going through feeling-wise. It's the first 7 years of life. It's Muladhara. It's a lumbar vertebra, and I'm totally stuck in my lower back. I'm a very psychosomatic person, so it always manifests with me wherever there's something happening emotionally. My emotions are very psychosomatic, so emotionally, my emotions manifest in my body. And the thing is about the inner child work is that you actually, it's in a very raw state. The same thing when you tap into traumas. That's moments in your life that, and it can be the same feeling. It doesn't have to be, because there's also certain traumatic experiences in childhood that might come up. It can be the same. I often experience it similar in myself and in others. It's this feeling of powerlessness. You're exposed to something which you haven't created yourself in your life. It's something that happened to you from the outside. It's what your parents did to you, what the setting you grew up in. Like this, it's very easy to get into the victim state, because you are exposed to it. You're not in your full power in those moments. Something happens to you in trauma, either too fast, too much, or too little, for too long. And in the early childhood years, a lot of things were done to us without our consent, because we were small babies. So we were exposed to a setting, dynamics with parents who maybe didn't do self-work, most likely not. And so there's also this dynamics playing in the family, the things you carry on. So bottom line is that this week I felt very much like little Nadia again, and very powerless and very I don't know how to get out of the situation. And I mean, you know, like you put, like, it's this refelt feeling of refelt situation of this little infant in the push pram and then you actually want to go and run, but you cannot because you're tied up. You know, that's what it it feels like this week, and this eclipse is pressing those buttons. It brings you the situations in life that bring back those memories that when you were a little child, that you were in that situation. And yes. So that's been going on. And at the moment, I do, not feel strong or cool or very adequate. Like there's a lot of feelings of inadequacy coming up. There's feelings of, regrets coming up, choices. But as I said to Salome before, like in my early days in general, before I chose the spiritual path, I really felt I'm bottomless and I don't have anybody behind me, or there's nothing behind my back. And with the experiences that I've been making the last 1.5 years in my life, I'm very much challenged on my bottom. I'm very much challenged on my fundament. Yet there is this constant feeling that I have something behind me at the back. So I haven't got the fundament yet solid, but there's this unconditional feeling of having something behind me that's holding me, so I'm not tilting back. And that's totally separate to the actual feeling of pain I have. It's just there as well. It's both. It exists at the same time. And that is it does get better when you do a lot of work, because that wasn't there before. So that gives me the strength maybe also to go deeper and to tap deeper, which doesn't make it easier. Just let's put it that way. I don't disintegrate because of it. I feel a lot of pain, yet I do not feel this despair, I think.
That's so beautiful, I think, in its rawness. I believe that we do have very different inner childs too. I feel like your inner child is, as you're all being much connected to the feeling world, it really acts according to, it's like this really very deep feelings of hopelessness, no? But again, as you described it, it's a beautiful image to just, even if you do feel in the present that you don't know how to circumvent the situation, or you feel stuck, or you feel like this, pretty much this sense of like the lack of foundation, so an insecurity in a way. But then the way you describe it with the backbone, there's this stamina, this knowing, this inner strength that's preventing you from even going to the lens of questioning your path, or like really questioning the pillars, the fundamental pillars upon which you built your life. So even if the current feeling is one of insecurity, or even like this I think for you it's really the stuckness, you also feel the sense of progress, because you compare yourself to maybe those other times where you had the foundation but you did not have the backbone, and that place in itself was much more despairing than the one that you're currently facing, even if this one really is that much more painful. And it's just, yeah. I also feel like your capacity to feel is extended. So no, is it?
Maybe, yes, maybe, yeah.
I would say that Nadia right now really is able to feel much more pain without disintegrating, collapsing. That's what you like, just the way you describe your inner feeling world is so rich and different from what I want experience and what I see reflected to me through the collective experiences, like the collective as in other people's experience, how they narrate, even books I read. I don't find the level of depthness of feeling that I grasped through your description of events.
It's just like there's a decision you can make in life, because when you close your heart, you also like in the grief, in the pain, you know, like there's this when you close off, you also close off to beauty, you know. I really want to get there myself, to be able to open up without the fear of getting hurt. And getting hurt doesn't mean that somebody consciously hurts me, just getting hurt because I lose somebody to death, to, you know, this just hurt. So when you open up, so when you, the thing what happens a lot in our society is that this closing of the heart because you were hurt, because there's grief. And it's just such a, it's in itself more painful in another way. It's differently painful. It's painful in the numbness. I was in numbness. You didn't know me then yet. I was a lot in numbness. It was decade, two even maybe, in numbness after something really hurtful happened to me, and then I didn't allow any feelings anymore. So I do prefer this. I really prefer to feel the pain than to not feel the pain, because there's a certain limitation. It felt always like ice cream, you know, when you eat ice cream and it goes down, this coldness in the heart. I prefer to feel. But then again, there's like different setups of personality types. So not everybody is like as hard, and that's not in a judgmental way, you know. We have different, there's the more the mind, there's more the heart, there's more the instinct. So there's different, astrologically seen also, on like just the way we are set up, what power tool we rely to in times of crisis, where we go to. So if I learn one thing on my journey, is there's no recipe fits all, you know. And that's what I also feel, that when we teach or when we go out there, the more honest and the more raw we show ourselves, then we go into resonance with the people who go through similar process, who can also benefit from our journey, or we can benefit from somebody else's journey. So we have different soul families, or we have different experiences, as we can sometimes complement each other with another setup, because it also helps to have another angle to look at things. And sometimes we want to have somebody exactly the same, because we just feel like, you know, piglets together in one, you know, like, and in this comfort, of shared inner world. So there's not one recipe fits all. The only recipe that I feel is fits all is authenticity, and go in there and be who you try to be, like take off those peels, those layers of self-deception, deception to others. Just be who you are, because then you go into resonance with who you need in that moment, or only then, when we still wear those masks, we're not finding our tribe.
Not, yeah.
And then we have all this disappointments and like this burst disappointment just basically means that an illusion has been burst, because we show ourselves differently than we are. We put on a mask, and the other person also puts on a mask, and then we have this big disillusionment. Whereas if we meet already raw and real,
you either resonate or not.
yeah, you go together or you don't.
Yeah, I
Saves
do.
time.
No, yeah, I recall when I was like in the beginning of my process, I started, yeah, to understand that I lived. It's like I really lived in a masquerade ball. It's everyone was wearing masks around me, and to confront and me, like I realizing that I also I had such a big ballroom. It was like I was collecting the masks, and I um, in that uh, in that show I had I had different masks for different people, and so yeah, my process has been um, not only peeling off the layers but also taking off the masks and really understanding that there are so many masks that live within me and they don't make up for um, coherent or cohesive kind of like self that is kind of is like this link. But that's also what's fueling me not to give up, not to give up on the journey, uh, because I really want to. I really feel like uh, there's so much there in the like in uniting the self and getting rid of the masks. Um, but I want to go back to the inner child because I feel it's very important um, to to also give here the people kind of another glimpse of two different inner childs and how they appeared in the world. Because my inner child, unlike Nadia's one, is she's a very kind of like entitled brat. Is he not very? She is not a very nice person to be around. Um, and not only that, but my inner child, she has such a control over my psyche. It's like the moment she appears, she she controls the show. It's very hard for me to function as a human being, to have even like responsibilities of a normal person of my age when I have that inner child controlling the show. And not only that, that this inner child really has very strong mechanisms of self-sabotage. So the moment she appears, she has the power, and I really have to honor that she has immense power. She has the power to ruin my life completely. If I don't find a way to, one, be conscious that she's there and realizing that I have a very strong inner child that is very unhealed and very traumatized, that's running the show. And the even like just denying that she's not present is the worst thing I can possibly do. I'm in the process of accepting this is what I have, and I have to I have to cooperate with her, because at this moment in my life, I'm not strong enough. My self energy is not strong enough to kind of like reprimand her and put her in the place. So I'm in that process where I realize I have a very, yeah, very, a child, a very frustrated, irritated, victimized, but also very, yeah, entitled, privileged, nasty child lurking in my psyche, unruled, uncontrolled. I have to, Nadia is liking my description. She's like, oh yes, that's what I wanted to say every single did say. Not maybe with these words all put together here would say that. It's also true that in these 18 months, I was not able to see that. Even when Nadia was acting as the mirror and saying, look at your child, I really could not see that. I had still layers that prevented me to see myself. Now I'm at this stage, 18 months later, where, okay, I realized that this is all true. And the process of inner child is also really honoring up the truth of the moment, not trying to bypass it, to circumvent it, to make it look better than it is. So now I'm at this stage of acceptance. This is what I'm working with, and I'm working towards, of course, harmonizing the child. We will never get rid of the child, I suppose, but at least harmonizing her, or having a little bit more of healthy conversations, kind of educating a little bit my child, parenting her, and with such an unhealthy and toxic child living within. I want to go back to the point of self-sabotage, because I feel a lot of people go through this and they don't realize what comes over them when they start to sabotage their lives. And when I was, and I really went through like several mind-centered therapies, so traditional psychology, they never could tap into this. They never really got that I was a very functional human being from the external, but that when I was in my child, that I had such a devious child that could really that really had the power to almost like destroy, really, this power to destroy life, to cut all the beauty of it, to make it so that I become such a human being that people will need to cut me out of their lives because they cannot trust me when I'm in the child, that I could not have a functional job, because if the child is let loose, you cannot control it. So sometimes she will come for 1 week, other times maybe for a month or a year. I don't even know, right, what that would be. But I feel that if I was not in this psycho-spiritual process, which is really a lot of spiritual work, I think she was getting stronger over time.
Yes, she's also very hurt.
Sorry?
She's also very hurt.
Yes, and because I'm neglecting her, I was trying
She
to use.
screams for attention. You don't see her. She's making so much havoc. She's creating so much havoc, and you still don't see her. You know, like children, if they don't get positive attention, they get negative attention.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
classic for not being seen, not being heard, not being feeling extra in a setting, you know. Then you get the negative attention, and then being a strong being, you getting vindictive. You want a revenge, you know, for the situation of not being heard, not being seen, not being understood. And then eventually the reason why you are like this is gone. The situation has changed. That's the problem about the inner child thing. Then the circumstances have changed, but this element, this coping, it's also part of his coping strategy. The coping strategy stays. Mixed in with elements also like hereditary elements, you know, from your family patterns and that kind of thing. And personality patterns too, of course. But then it becomes like this it becomes like this remote control thing, you know, which is, you don't actually know why it's become that way anymore, because it then also develops on by itself. It's like it's fermenting by itself, and there's actually the reason why where it started and why it is like that is not so obvious anymore. And then you have these adults in general reacting in a certain way, which is very immature. They're totally age inadequate, and weird for the people around. It doesn't make, there's no, it doesn't make sense. But then when you go and trace back to the inner child of that particular person, the story, the setting they were born into, what they experienced in early childhood and the coping strategies, then it turns out that this was a coping strategy for that setting that they were born into, then turning into this uncontrollable, separate entity.
Yeah, it still baffles me that people, why are we not talking about it more? Because this justifies, or at least like, this is also, I mean, I really need to do a caveat here, at least in my timeline before my spiritual awakening.
Not many people talk about that, or they only talked about that in limited settings, and then they go back to their normal lives and they don't talk. It's like the problem I have at the moment. It's actually not really a problem, but it's not very, it doesn't make my life very pleasant, because I kind of see those things playing out. People's behaviors, I see this exactly playing out. And I do not actually see the mask that people put on. I don't even see it. Before I saw behind the mask. Before I saw behind the mask. And now I don't even see the mask anymore. I just see, I thought before I saw the mask and what's behind, and now I just see what's behind, and that causes a lot of confusion, because I don't even realize what the mask was supposed to be anymore. So I just see what I see, and I totally disrespect the mask that people put on. It's a felt disrespect, because people say something, do something, and I totally ignore that. And I go straight to the core of what's actually the true intention, what's the inner child, what's the shadow, whatever, you know, like the hidden parts, or the true intention. And that causes a lot of frustration.
Backlash.
Yeah, and so for me, really, I'm at a phase, and it's probably part of the reason why I'm going through such a huge personal crisis as well. I find it very hard to relate these days. I find it very hard to relate to, there's actually certain people that don't mind being seen, you know, they don't like being truly seen. And with those people, I can, and I don't know if I always actually like to be seen, you know, it's just the fact that I do see it in others.
Yeah, it's your gift.
And yeah, it's my gift, but sometimes it's, I really, you know, I must not curse my blessing, but sometimes it is not easy.
I really feel that, you know, for you, really working with it, with your blessing, which I realize that it's really more and more I can relate to what you have said to me countless times before, that it's not so easy to have your gift. I realized now. Before I could not really understand why you said it, why you would say it, but as I also realized that, okay, maybe here and there, not, I feel, because I'm on this really, I'm really on a 100% committed journey. I don't backlash at you, not intentionally. If I do, I try to then kind of like, no,
You do backlash sometimes.
Huh?
You do backlash sometimes.
Yeah, but I try to, when I'm conscious of it, and I hope that you realize this, at least I'm setting the record straight here on record.
Less
Um,
and less.
I want to, no, I want to be able to more and more, honor your gift and, um, how do you say, when I don't act, when I'm acting in a, how do you say, it's not only in healed, it's when I'm backlashing at you because you're seeing past the persona. I want to be able to honor it and to ask, for forgiveness and to really commit to show myself better.
The thing is, it's like this is just a thought that's a beautiful thing about PodAlchemy when you actually go out there raw and everything, and not just talking in the secret and the hidden. I just had this epiphany that we've talked about it before in theory about the cities, there's those talents, those innate gifts God has given her souls, those cities, those talents. Like in my case, it's like I see behind the masks, and I'm very clear. I my nose is, I smell energies. And the thing is, and I've said that many times, the problem is when you see this develop, but you haven't developed the way of, either you haven't developed your integrity and your alignment with the heart, so you're not misusing your CDs. That's one thing. I think that's less my problem at the point that I'm at. Well, the temptation, I'm sure, is always, I think the stronger your gifts get, the stronger the temptations to misuse them get. But what's really hard for me, I don't know how, like at this moment in time, and I think that causes a lot of frustration, apart from some outer circumstances which also happen in my life, is that I do not know how to deal with it. Because before, as I said, I did see the mask, and sometimes I even still fell for it, and I kind of saw behind.
Yeah.
But then it was like, I see behind,
Yeah, but
And now I don't even see the mask anymore.
yeah, because before you could do damage control because you saw the mask, you could, how do you say, you could communicate what you saw beneath it in a more like compassionate, as in a more like not so cut through, not so raw, not so harsh. And
So
now because
I have reactions to people's interactions that feel totally inadequate to them, because I am not replying to their words, to their gestures, to the facial features, to what they're displaying at this moment in time. And my reaction is entirely to what I see behind, which also maybe I actually feel that I'm pretty spot on mostly, and usually, but maybe I'm also, of course, I've also got my projections. So sometimes it's maybe also my projections was playing it. But if I'm not close to people particularly, then I know I'm spot on. When I'm very close, there can be also some projections, of course, happening. That's another tricky thing. But so I'm becoming actually socially awkward. And I'm socially, I'm very good. I know how to behave in whatever situation. And that is, and I can still revert to that. So I'm going there and I'm like, oh, and then I know how to be diplomatic. I know how to do all this. I mean, customer relations for decades. I know how to do this. Yet it is, I don't know, it's like how I need to learn, because there's also frustration I'm feeling. I'm going out there and this is like an overwhelm I'm feeling. I haven't my body is kind of not ready to receive what I see. I feel so much illusion. I feel so much, because sometimes I feel I just only really see the ugly too. There's unfortunately more hidden ugly than hidden beauty. And I it's before, I think my life was easier. And maybe I'm also more focused on the dark now, which really has a toll on my own personal well-being. So my body kind of doesn't integrate it too well, and that makes my capacity to teach, and that makes my capacity to be able to be around people very small at the moment, because I'm going through this process of learning how to deal with my own gifts, and how can I use this gift in an aligned way, you know? How can I help people grow with this gift? Because if people don't want to know what I see, then it's not really my, you know, but at the same time, I don't want to interact in a fakeness. So I really still have to find my way there. And that's an epiphany I'm just having now, that I think is one of the major difficulties of my time now, because I'm developing. India is really developing those things. I feel it's very hard to be here in many ways on a day-to-day basis, but the veils are thinner, and I feel I'm developing quite a few gifts more quicker than I would do it elsewhere, because I'm also under pressure.
Definitely.
But the thing is, that's really hard, you know. And then it's also, where do I have to write to say something, where I don't? It's like where it's a gift like that I give somebody, where I should not, where has the soul given me the permission to do it? And then if the soul hasn't given me the permission to do it, I don't really want to be around this person.
Yeah, but that's your freedom, no? I mean, all
Yeah,
there
but
are.
it's a very small world then, you know.
I understand. Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's like it sometimes would be really nice to just be hanging in a group, and I can see it in myself too. I have this laughter that I have when I'm when I'm fake, because I and I have a laughter which is genuine, because I'm a bit naughty sometimes, and so I have this genuine laughter, and I have this lessening my message laughter, and I have this just fake interaction laughter.
Yeah, just to fill in the emptiness, no? Yeah, I also have that.
That is small talk laughter. The other day I was making a video actually for a dear friend of mine, and then I was making a video for her because she was in Goa, and I wanted to make a video for her as a memory, you know, walking around. But then these people came up in the video making small talk, but which was part of the thing. But I afterwards, when I watched my video, oh my God, the way I interact is so fake. And it's not because of her fakeness. The fakeness was in the interaction with the people I was you know, can I film it on this small talk? And I'm like, wow, I also do it, you know?
Yeah, but this is also the something that I reflected upon the other day, which is like really authenticity is a path. It's always by proximity. You know, it's not that it's a destination. It's a path you choose to walk every single day. And it's yeah, it's tempting to go the other way. It's very tempting. It's really a decision. And
It's not even tempting, it's automated sometimes. It's just
it's automated, and it's tempting because it's the path of less resistance. The moment we are praised in society to be inauthentic, because we want to portray ourselves as more perfect than what we are. And the social incentives are to actually cover up and relegate to the shadow, to the inner world, all the less than perfect qualities that make us human in the first place.
But the thing is that rawness, if somebody, like I see behind the mask, right? And then if that other person is okay with me seeing behind the mask, and we actually have the interaction on this rawness, I don't mind at all. It's like we are not perfect as humans. It's like this this rawness, this realness, which is a gift in itself. Doesn't matter if somebody has this ugly trait or that ugly trait, or what is ugly, define ugly as well. But it's more like if it's acknowledged, and if it's honest, and if it's there and it's seen, and it's really truly seeing and being seen. A lot of people just want to be seen for their gifts, but the truly being seen is being seen for who you truly are in your whole essence, and still be loved,
Yeah.
I never feel, there's also something that because I felt as a child, I was not fitting in. I didn't really know how to behave. And then I learned how to behave. I cracked the code of social interaction in the society I grew up in. I was awkward. I didn't fit in. Then we moved. I was kind of fitting in with this Italian community, but then we moved place, and so I didn't know how to interact with Swiss children and in my school and everything. And then I cracked the code, and from the total outsider, it became one of the most popular ones. So I really cracked the code, and that popularity that I had, I kind of judged the people who liked me for it, because I was like, you don't know who I really am. I cheated you. You are gullible. I didn't respect them. And I never felt truly loved, because I just felt you just love a fake me. Only when people saw, like, there were certain aspects that I hid on purpose that were not like shadows, were just hidden. I hid from society. And there was, of course, the hidden from me too. If I only felt loved, or I only feel loved when somebody sees me fully. Because otherwise I feel I don't respect the person. I go like, you just. So I realize that now.
That's so interesting. It was exactly what you're saying was tying up with what I was, what the part of my conclusions during this week on this theme, because I was also revisiting one of my core wounds, which is not, and which also tie into the inner child, which is not feeling loved, seen, and appreciated, and then it hit me that for me, my process growing up was not really like yours. I was always very how do you say, I was always very not fitting in, like the awkward, like I was fat and the nerd.
No, but me too. Just later on I cracked the code.
The thing is, for me, I always wanted to belong. So even the cracking the code, I was not really interested in the code. I wanted to be accepted for who I really was, but I just felt that people around me could not. It's like it's a different thing than you, because for me it was like I feel me wiggling, my inauthenticity came from actually lack of self-love. So I did not accept myself for who I was. I did not find that who I was enough,
Lovable.
enough and lovable. And so I go out there and try to collect love from others by making the perfect pairing for what I knew they wanted from me. I've always, for me, it's different. My CD is different. It's the vision. So I connect to the person that I connect to who. It's like I have a automatic, straight, like really highway onto what this person wants me to be. And not only do I have that highway, I have it within me to embody that. because I don't love me. So because I don't love me, it's so easy for me to tweak, and I could be a beautiful, I actually do feel if 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 I had very good skills to be an actress. And so I do that. I did that all my life. I would tune into, maybe even use my CDs back then unconsciously. I would tune into what the person wanted from me, and I would switch immediately, automatically to that. And then growing up, as I'm doing that, and I'm doing that with all the people, because I'm trying and like I'm basically choosing others over me out of lack of self-love. I'm trying to collect, kind of like, as these, how do you say, if love was a coin, I was trying to get rich and on those love coins. And I did, like, the thing is, my ego was getting bigger and bigger because I was collecting so much coins from all. I was very good at it. I was very good at my own show. And the more love coins I collected, the less I really felt I was worth of love. I was completely cut from source. I was completely cut from my own self. And then it was like really this process, like this horror show, where I was not even, I hated so much who I was becoming because it was not me. I lose, like, I completely lose the sense of self, because then people ask me, who are you after all? People are not stupid. They start, even like my close friends, they start to see that I act weird when they put another person in the equation, right? And also in groups, I can only tune into the energy one-on-one. So in groups, the more awkward I feel, because I cannot harmonize, like I cannot orchestrate the perfect, as you know, like sometimes people want different things from me. So I cannot please all. Like, this is, I'm just connecting the dots as we go. And it was really a freak show at the like the pinnacle of all of the show. I was like this really Frankenstein person, like a mix of energies that were fakely made to be the most perfect persona in this world, to please the whole world, but without any, like, sense, like without any integrity, really, without any authenticity, without it coming from source, from self-love, from this is who I am, take it or leave it. And yeah, and that was a, yeah, that has been my journey. Because now the problem is, as I deviated so much from self, from who I really am, who my soul is here to embody, then I'm it's like the exercise is, I have like this, I it's like I have this pocket full of love coins, and now my exercise is giving it back. Sorry, I don't want this is not me. I, you know. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you have a similar, maybe not so drastic.
No, but you only know me not so long, right? I'm
Of-
talking also, that started, that that revamping myself, that started when I was going to, I never know the levels in English, when I was 13 and I was going to this higher education, like this high school or college. I never know which one is which in English.
the high school still, yeah.
Yeah, like 13, like we go to this, or 12, 13, we go to this different school. So that was also geographically a different school for me. So I reinvented myself there, which helped geographically, new life, new
And
people.
your fresh page.
Yes. And it gradually became more. The first year was, but then and I was very authentic before, I feel, but I just didn't fit in. And then I remember this one friend of mine, he said, in a very angry way, and I really feel that with him, I was very authentic, actually. He was so angry. He said, like, who are you actually? You're bloody chameleon, And it was very similar. And I think there's two facets there. I still have different ways with different people, but that's just different parts of my soul as well. So I'm very interested. I'm also quite interested in a few things. So with one person, I maybe share more this interest. With another person, you know, with some friends of mine, I can stand for hours in the kitchen talking about food and creating a beautiful dish. With some other, and maybe not even interested in spirituality, but for me, food is very important. And good food and you know, listening to some classical
Oh,
music,
sure.
standing in the kitchen. And
Yeah, you're very like this.
so this is also a part, going to the market, buying food together. That's not being a fake personality. It's as authentic as me being meditation all day. It both is a passion. You know, there's a few passions I have as well, but there is, the chameleon is different. No, it changes. So it was also becoming the situation that I also had in the same setting, you know, that it, I didn't feel it was awkward, but I think I just tapped into another element, and then he felt I was just being a chameleon. And it really hurt me at the time because I considered myself being just who I am, and that came much later, you know, I mean, I consciously revamped myself. That was conscious. But that revamping then actually had that extra layer of multiple personalities, which now is just different interests, different, you know, with different people I share different interests, you know. But that's not me being different as a person. It's just me tapping into another passion.
And
But
also,
before, it was like that as well.
not only tapping into another passion, I also feel it has to do with our past lives. Like this really, you know, it's like people that appear in your life, maybe you connect to them at soul level in different like different, the interests that we play in this life, maybe they are connected even to some other place where we live together. I see that a lot with my cousin. I know that like he has been around, and we understand one another, and like so it's even freaky to say this, but we are not close.
So your sister, your mom's sister's son, that one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
He and like he is not, he still did not go through the spiritual journey. I just know he will, but he's just when. But he's fascinated with Japan. Fascinated. Do you know how when I was back in India, I really connected
You wanted
to
to go to Japan.
I connected to a life in Japan. And I even think that part of my skills that I'm still, my golden skills that I still have to tap into are the ones related to organization and structure, very Japan kind of like lifestyle in a way. And the moment I arrived back, he's obsessed with Japan, like my cousin. And we have these beautiful conversations where we just feed one another around Japan. And it's just like, it's like we have a shared world. We share a world of Japan together. And I don't have that with anyone else. And even I would not talk about Japan even with myself. It's just not something that enters my field.
You're just
Every
tapping into the joint memories of another lifetime.
feel it, you know. There's not a, it's not possible any. It's not. I cannot explain it any other way. But it's just so fluid. It's just the information just flows through me and through him. And it's not really something I've read. It's not really something he reads. It's just something that we know. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that is very special.
And yeah, but this is being authentic, even if yeah,
It's a different facet. It doesn't mean that the other people don't know that you're fascinated with Japan, that you're a fake personality. That's just different interests, different passions, different past lives. But you as a core being, you are staying the same. Of course, I have a bad day, I have a good day, I'm grumpy, I'm happy. I, the thing is with like the polar opposites. One of my favorite thing is to listen to classical music and stand in the kitchen for hours. I have a very small kitchen, but if it's a big kitchen with other people and cook together, I need space. So this kitchen is too small, but I love to be together in the kitchen and then drink a glass of wine and then chop that kind of ambiance. And then the other side of me is like, no wine, no this, no that, in like spirituality and frugality and like this kind of the path of the mystic, but that which of course is like north node, south node things as well, where I come from, where I go to. So we have these polarities, but that doesn't mean it's fake.
No.
So it doesn't mean that you always have to be every day in the same mood, every day the same person. Also, people bring out different things in me. It's like a very good example is my friend Gordana, who we lived together in Cape Town. I mean, we had 2 different flats, but very close to each other. We kind of shared a life together. We very close. And then her little baby sister, 12 years younger, she came on vacation. And her sister, she was at that stage, she was still a teenager, and she was 17, and she was like so joyful and curious and like she saw everything through different eyes. She totally brought that out in me. I became this teenager again through her, which is not fake personality. I just lived it through her again. And then Gordon, I said, oh my God, I have got 2 teenagers with me. I really became a teenager for the duration where Maria was there, because it was just that curiosity she had, that zest for life, that thirst for life. And I was really working hard and I lost a bit that spark, and it was just so nice. But it doesn't mean it's fake. No, it was she triggered something in me.
Yeah, you connected to self energy through her.
Yeah.
That's
And
yeah.
it was very light, and I always called her my little sunshine, and she still is like that. I mean, we still got the same age difference, but she's older now too. But she's just also got that energy in her that like she's Gemini Leo as a rising Leo, so she's very bubbly and very very gregarious.
That's a beautiful combination, actually.
Yeah, it makes a very very very
She's
sociable being, and very, very easy to be around. I always said this, she's very easy to be around.
well, it's like my father.
Is it Gemini Leo? Oh, wow.
I know this. When you were describing her, I was just like, I know this. I know these feelings. She's an easy person to be around. Yeah, yeah.
So I always
People,
called her my little sunshine, she's also gregarious, and then this says like kind of infectious with the joy for life. Like you feel invigorated with it. Like,
I love, yeah, that's my father is like, he's a little sunshine.
yes.
And he's not only this, there's like even, now I forgot the term, but this,
Say it in Portuguese.
no, I also forgot, but it's a philosophy term. These people that they just know how to live life. Even a lot of people now try to be like them, but it's in a very fake, inauthentic way.
Or
I will.
savoir vivre, or like bon vivant.
It's not, yeah, also bon vivant, but a philosophy.
Hedonist.
No, not hedonist. Not. Wait, I will.
It doesn't matter. I think we understand the essence of it. So now we came full circle with the inner child to your father.
Oh yeah. No, but I before we wrap up, I do want to also say to just, because this is the inner child work. It's very painful, but I really want to stress how also the inner child work compiles a lot of our own creative gifts. a lot of connection really to that self energy, as we are actually describing this beautiful combination of Gemini, Leo. I feel that's a lot of the also trapped essence that
Oh
resides
yeah.
in the healed inner child, as we take the time really to integrate, to reparent. So if the inner child is very wounded because of lack of love, usually maternal wound, when we start to mothering the inner child, or if it's more of a father wound, when we give to the inner child the support, the structure, the kind of like I really feel that fathering the inner child is more kind of like this, the mom is more the love, but the father is more like kind of like this sense of safety, like I've got you,
Yes,
you
yes, the provider.
provider. There's nothing that can happen to you, like
Mhm. The
uh,
fundament.
yeah. As we do that work, and then the inner child goes from, in my case, the little brat, entitled devious creature, then she starts to blossom, she starts to trust us enough to also trust us the inner gift, the creative potential that we did not really develop as we were growing up, because uh, yeah, we got our little traumas, or there was this lack of love, or this lack of um, support, financial support, structure, whatever, in whatever form it might have manifested in your life. But all these kind of blocks, they are also blocking the creative gifts, because a child cannot be a child if it does not feel safe, or if it does not feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
that's that's I really feel that's the beauty of the work of the inner child. And yeah, how you retrieve also back that authenticity, that glow, that shine, um, that is joy of vivre, like Nadia was saying, for life, no?
Yeah, and there's no shortcut.
Oh no, it's in and true.
Yeah, yes, it's in and through, and I think um, that's where bypassing can happen. But I don't want to go deeper into that. It's just that it's through the rawness, it's through the realness, it's through the pain that we've experienced, and you don't have to soak in it. But you have to move through it, and there's layer and layer. It's like onions, you know, the one layer, then the next layer comes. The thing that I'm feeling now, it's not the first time I'm feeling it, it's just in a different flavor, in a different shade, caused due to a different circumstance, at a different level of depth. And it's not the first time, it's one of my core wounds, one of my core pains, and it will come again. It's just every time I'm going through it, I'm either going deeper, or it affects. I don't totally disintegrate. I'm still and when I say I'm functioning, I don't mean that in the sense that I'm don't want to go there. It can happen, the process can happen, and I do not fully disintegrate, or not for extended period of time. You know, that is becoming it's becoming accelerated in a way. Also because it's like a muscle. You train it. The first time you go through a deep internal process, you're overwhelmed. You're potentially overwhelmed by it, and then with a while, you know the feeling. You know, oh, it's also that it's safe to feel pain. You know, you can feel pain, and it can be safe.
Mm.
And you also know you have this intrinsic knowing that you will move through the pain because you have experienced the light at the end of the tunnel. You have actually been in the light at the end of the tunnel. So you have more stamina, more courage to go into the next tunnel. And that changes.
Yeah, and yeah, it's true. And I feel like I feel we can wrap up with this one, and it ties into, I just Googled this quality, which is, I feel, the quality of
Gemini Leo.
Gemini Leo, so Maria and my father. It's the stoicism, but it's not a mind stoic, it's a heart stoicism. I know this does not exist, but it's the
No,
heart.
no, I know, yes.
You understand the heart stoicism, which is like whatever life throws at you, you know you have the heart capacity. It's the Leo with the Gemini, actually. If you bind the two concepts, it's heart stoicism. You just know you have the capacity to go through that tunnel of feeling, to retrieve back to you the the light, the creativity, the calm, loving presence of the inner child.
I think Gemini in general, and then in combination with the Leo, because I find Leos to me are very safe. I feel very safe around Leos because I just do. I don't even have to go in the because I just do. And then, but the Gemini always brings out the joyfulness in me. And then the joyfulness combined with the safety to be joyful, There's also stability because the Gemini has something slightly unstable about it, but then with the Leo, there's a stability to it. That's what's lacking to me in the Gemini only is that stability. And then with the Leo in it, you have the stability and the joy, and it's like beautiful, no?
Yeah, Gemini is I think the instability comes from a lot of air, but then when you with the air you mix it with the fire, healthy fire of Leo, you have a beautiful combination. Anyway,
Anyway,
we end
what
up
an unexpected wrapping up. That's so beautiful about it, no? It's always unexpected and it's always
what is. I really feel this is the PodAlchemy nature. It's we really show up, we don't know, with each journey we come here, we hop on a train and we allow the journey to take place without knowing where it will lead.
we know the timetable of the railway station we take off from, but we don't know where we're driving to.
Namaste.
Namaste.